It's the morning rush hour here in Dhaka, a clangorous place of 11 million. Like most subcontinental Asian cities, Dhaka bustles, but today it's deceptively peaceful, given what's been going on in these very streets of late. Back in August, thousands rioted here in Dhaka, angry at what they saw as the unelected government's reluctance to reintroduce democracy in Bangladesh. As a result, all political activity was banned and the major cities placed under strict curfew. Over the past year, not one but two former prime ministers, both of them women, have been jailed. And since the military-backed takeover in January, the government has detained more than 250,000 Bangladeshis, with reports of torture and killing rife. Apart from the political upheaval that's gripped the place for a year now, Bangladesh is one of the poorest nations on the planet. Half its population lives on less than $1 a day. To say the least, economically, geographically and now politically, it's a tricky place to carry on the normal stuff of life. But if there is such a thing as a good news story to be found here these days, you might find it a short journey out of town in places like this, the tiny semi-rural village of Dholla. Dholla is a classic example of Mohammed Yunus's now world-renowned poverty-busting microcredit projects in local action. We made it to Dholla, appropriately enough, by boat. We were, after all, in Bangladesh's notorious flood-ridden Ganges Delta, where most of this densely populated country's people are crammed. Thank you. The Grameen Bank was already open for business. The word Grameen, by the way, actually means village. Our guide from the bank was the general manager, Nurjahan Begum.
Put down number and money, how much is collecting.
So they bring their cash each week and pay their loan money back.
So he will write down this passbook. There's money.
Dhola's micro business women were gathered in this simple tin shed to pay the regular weekly instalments on their loans. They don't go to the bank comes to them. They're all far too busy making money. Hardly a fortune, it has to be said, but more than Bangladesh's dirt-poor villages normally live on. The annual per capita income in the country is just over $500 Australian, with millions on much less. You would have noticed the almost complete predominance of women here. That's because something like 97% of the close enough to $3 billion Grameen has loaned over the last 30 years has been to women. And no collateral, they don't have to bring anything.
No collateral. You can ask them. আপনারা টাকা পয়সা নেওয়ার সময় কোনো কিছু বন্ধক রাখতে হয়েছে? জায়গা, জমি। সালাম দেন। আচ্ছা, সবাইটা হাত তালি দিই আমরা নাকি?
The reality is these modest village enterprises give a whole new definition to small business. In fact, they're the smallest of the small, all of them built up over a few years, starting with a no-collateral micro loan equivalent in takas, the Bangladeshi currency, of a lousy couple of hundred Australian dollars. Grameen inspired, they're many and varied, be it sewing the country's traditionally colourful saris, selling them locally at affordable prices, or handmade mats from bamboo husks. No formal education or training as such is required. Point being, these women and 6 million others just like them throughout Bangladesh have neither of these things. But thanks to their micro businesses, they told us, now their kids will.
Now she has a house. আপনার account কি কি আছে? সংসারে কি কি হয়েছে? বাড়ি হয়েছে?
হ্যাঁ, বাড়ি ঘর সব কিছু আছে। তিনটে বাচ্চা, আমার তিনটে তো মেয়ে, ছেলে নাই।
She has 3 daughters.
হ্যাঁ, 2 মেয়ে বিয়ে দিয়েছি আর এক মেয়ে বাচ্চা পড়তেছে 7
দুইটা ক্লাসে পড়ে আপনার মেয়ে?
ছোটটা 7-এ পড়ে।
She's reading in class 7.
Precariously, if that's the word for being careful not to put a foot wrong, we rounded off our visit to Dholla with a quick visit to a business the locals are especially proud of. A cow fattening farm.
So in average, he can earn per cow 10,000 to 15,000.
So the men work on the farm with the cows, and the women still handle the loan money. And were they very poor before?
She doesn't have anything.
No, that's to do it very basic life. Now they have a business, a thriving business. Well, I guess you could say this has been a tantalising glimpse, a crash course, if you like, into how this way of financing incredibly modest small businesses, small village businesses like this one, and how it at least has some sort of impact on what the rest of us have always felt has been a futile attempt to reduce the amount of poverty in the world.